please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to welcome and thank all of you for being here tonight to share with us these final moments of our high school days. 6 years ago, I attended my first Caney Valley graduation. For the occasion, my dad bought me a new pair of red shoes. During the ceremony, I dropped one of my shoes under the bleachers, and Dad had to crawl under there to find it for me. Knowing how nervous I would be tonight, he advised me that it doesn't matter what you say, just keep your shoes on. Never would I have imagined that 6 years later, I would be attending another Caney Valley graduation. Not only attending, but speaking in front of hundreds of people. We have developed many friendships during our years at Caney Valley. Many of these friendships will last forever, while others will begin to fade the moment we leave the gym tonight. And though we don't like to admit that, it is inevitable, for we all will change as we go our separate ways and pursue our various dreams and goals. Even if the friendships fade, the memories we have made will never be forgotten. For how could we forget Coach Whitworth's disciplinary push-ups, or backwards day in Mr. Smith's 8th grade American history class, or longing to be row captain in my daddy's class, decorating for the prom, the trip to Muscogee for senior pictures, and the exciting trip to Kansas City just last week. We have had many great times here at Caney Valley, and though we are all a little sad about leaving, I know the class of '96 is ready for the future. I would now like to close the poem written by our fellow classmate, Venus Love. It's titled, We Entered the Doors of Life. Through the door, we walked with small strides, our knowledge low, as was our pride. Other children at work and play, moms at our sides when we're not brave. Some of us cried as we held our mother's hand. She was leaving and we did not understand. Through the day, we began to have fun. We played at recess in the sun. The year came and the year went. To the first grade is where we were sent. The next few years we had a blast, not knowing those years just could not last. Middle school was here before we knew. The big kids were big, but by then we were too. As freshmen we were little again. Our sophomore year our life began. As juniors we wished it to be gone. The last 11 years had been so long. Our senior year has finally arrived. There are goals for which we must now strive. Our senior pictures and memory books, the senior prom, and who we took. This great year we have had, graduation is here, and now we are sad. Now there are goodbyes we have to give. It's time to move on and time to live. The memories we know will be forever. Life goes on, but not together. Thank you. over a school, a place where everyone seems to know your name. And as some of us well know, someone always notices when you're missing. Even when we deny it, there's a lot of cool spirit. And when the band is absent from a football game, you can find someone there with a trusty kazoo. This is all behind us now as we begin the rest of our lives. Over the past year, we have had to consider moving on. But for some, this seems a vague and distant event. This last semester together, we have realized there are some classmates we will seldom see again, and we already miss each other. In a short while, our families and friends will join us on the gymnasium floor. Some will cry, some will smile, yet all will feel sad over an event that stresses the loss of our childhood and the leaving a friend. Within an hour, however, we will be at a party cracking jokes with the same friends to whom we tearfully say goodbye. And tonight or tomorrow morning, when we get home, the same families who lost their boy or little girl will be there to take us in again. It will not take long for us to realize that we can leave nothing behind. Instead, a wealth of memories will follow us, and all the family and friends here tonight have shaped what we are right now. A friend signed my memory book with the following lines. I will miss you dearly, and I hope to see you in another 20 years. I just realized how good of a friend you are because it made me sad to write this. And I wish to tell my dear friend, as I look at my fellow seniors and the people who have shared their lives with me, I know they will never leave me. If we house these memories perfectly in our hearts, we can never forget where we came from and who we are right now. This is how you will remember me, and this is how we will remember each other. Mr. Jones, Mr. Ward, members of the Board of Education, teachers, faculty, family, friends, and my beloved classmates. As I stand here before you on my last night of high school, I can see the hope and happiness on each of my classmates' faces. For 13 years, we've been preparing for this day, and as we begin our lives as young adults, each of us have very special hopes and dreams for a bright future. I would like to read one more story to my classmates before we finish high school. It's called The Tale of Three Trees, and it's by Angela E. Hunt. Once upon a mountaintop, three little trees stood and dreamed of what they wanted to become when they grew up. The first little tree looked up at the stars, twinkling like diamonds above him. I want to hold treasure, he said. I want to be covered with gold and filled with precious stones. I will be the most beautiful treasure chest in the world. The second little tree looked out at the small stream trickling by on its way to the ocean. I want to be a strong sailing boat, he said. I want to travel mighty waters and carry powerful kings. I will be the strongest ship in the world. The third little tree looked down into the valley where busy men and busy women worked in a busy town. I don't want to leave this mountain top at all, she said. I want to grow so tall that when people stop to look at me, they will raise their eyes to heaven and think of God. I will be the tallest tree in the world. Years passed, the rains came, the sun shone, and the little trees grew tall. One day, 3 woodcutters climbed the mountain. The first woodcutter looked at the first tree and said, "This tree is beautiful. It is perfect for me." With a swoop of his shining axe, the first tree fell. "Now I shall be made into a beautiful chest," thought the first tree. "I shall hold wonderful treasure." The second woodcutter looked at the second tree and said, "This tree is strong. It is perfect for me." With a swoop of his shining axe, the second tree fell. "Now I shall sail mighty waters," thought the second tree. "I shall be a strong ship, fit for kings." The third tree felt her heart sink when the last woodcutter looked her way. She stood straight and tall and pointed bravely to heaven. But the woodcutter never looked up. "Any kind of tree will do for me," he muttered. With the swoop of his shining axe, the third tree fell. The first tree rejoiced when the woodcutter brought him into a carpenter's shop, but the busy carpenter was not thinking about treasure chests. Instead, his workable hands fashioned the tree into a feed box for animals. The once beautiful tree was not covered with gold or filled with treasure. He was coated with sawdust and filled with hay for hungry farm animals. The second tree smiled when the woodcutter took him to a shipyard, but no mighty sailing ships were being made that day. Instead, the once strong tree was hammered and sawn into a simple fishing boat. Too small and too weak to sail into an ocean or even a river, he was taken to a little lake. Every day, he brought in loads of dead, smelly fish. The third tree was confused when the woodcutter took her strong beams and left her in a lumberyard. What happened? The one tall tree wondered. All I ever wanted to do was stay on the mountaintop and point to God. Many, many days and nights passed. The three trees nearly forgot their dreams. But one night, golden starlight poured over the first tree as a young woman placed her newborn baby in the food box. I wish I could make a cradle for him, her husband said. The mother squeezed his hand and smiled as the starlight shone on the smooth and sturdy wood. This manger is beautiful, she said. And suddenly the first tree knew he was holding the greatest treasure in the world. One evening, a tired traveler and his friends crowded into an old fishing boat. The traveler fell asleep as the second tree quietly sailed out into the lake. Soon a thundering and thrashing storm arose. The little tree shuddered. He knew he did not have the strength to carry so many passengers safely through the wind and rain. The tired man awakened. He stood up, stretched out his hands, and said, "Peace." The storm stopped as quickly as it had begun. And suddenly the tree knew he was carrying the King of heaven and earth. One Friday morning, the third tree was startled when her beams were yanked from the forgotten wood pile. She flinched as she was carried through an angry, jeering crowd. She shuddered when soldiers nailed a man's hands to her. She felt ugly and harsh and cruel. But on Sunday morning, when the sun rose and the earth trembled with joy beneath her, the third tree knew that God's love had changed everything. It had made the first tree beautiful. It had made the second tree strong. And every time people thought of the third tree, they would think of God. And that was better than being the tallest tree in the world. Let's pray. Our Father, thank you for letting us be here tonight. Please bless each of my classmates as we go forward to pursue our dreams. Help them to be strong and courageous, and please see us safely through the next years. My dear friends, I wish for you all the happiness in the world, and I pray for you that you will achieve all of your dreams and goals. I love you all. Thank you.
you tonight is called The Rose. The second song is a tune to Ode to Joy, but it is our school alma mater. And our third song is the fight song.
At this time, we'd like to have parents, when we call your name, come down here on the sidelines. The seniors have a thank you presentation to give you. Some of them need to give more than others. For Sarah Elizabeth Anderson, we need Debbie Bader and Taylor Miller. For Billy Jim Chastain Buford and Teresa Chastain. Matthew Key Coonfield, William and Janet Coonfield. Daniel Walter Cunningham, Charles and Grace Cunningham. Selena Dion Donnelly, Larry and Sue Donnelly. Joshua Bo Florence, Ed and Pam Florence. Lyle K. French, David and Margie French. Michael David Gaynor, Rhonda Dye. Adam Scott Good and Timothy James Good. Paula and Carla Good. Paul, excuse me. I knew I was going to do that. Nobody's perfect. Brian and Dale Gordon, Carlotta Gordon, Lois Gordon, and Terry Kennedy. Travis Wayne Griggs, Sandy Keaton, and Gary Griggs. Shane Daly Hen, Smokey and Billy Hen. Christina Maria Herrera, Alfredo and Donna Herrera. Rebecca Ann Hines, Joyce Hines, Eileen Lucas, Algie Gosner. Corey Lee Hewlings, Mike and Carol Hewlings. Delana Jean Lee, Dorlis Blaylock. Jason Kyle Long, Jack and Mary Long. Jason Wayne Long, Stan and Teresa Long.
School board, Mr. Jones, Mr. Ward, and graduation band. I think from the way we started off with the wave, I think we certainly are a graduation band. Certainly would like to thank you for the honor of being able to offer the senior challenge to you. I'd like to begin with a little story about Melissa. I'll take that a little bit of leeway there. But when Melissa first started school, on her first day, her mother and I sort of had a disagreement about whether she should ride the bus home or should Mom go pick her up. I wanted her to ride the bus, come on, you gotta go out there. She's gotta learn sometimes and ride the bus. And Mom didn't like that. Well, of course, I won that argument, and so she rode the bus. Well, that afternoon, we were sitting there like young parents do. We were sitting on the front porch waiting for the bus to get in. And sure enough, we were sitting out there, and the bus pulls up. And we see a bunch of little legs get off on the other side of the bus, and I kind of look over my wife like, I told you so, no problem. The bus pulls away, and you see all these little people running down toward the house, but Melissa's not one of them. Well, I started to get the feeling that my wife is not too happy, so I kind of take off running. Not that I was scared, but I went to get the car keys. I went and got the car keys, and I took off and headed for the car so I could go find Melissa. About the time I got to the car, the bus pulled back up. And sure enough, the bus pulled back up, and this time just one little set of legs came out the bus. The bus pulled away, and here comes Melissa. Down the hill there toward the house, her face is just beaming, and she's smiling, and she's just happy she rode the bus. And I looked at her and I said, "What's the matter?" "Well, what happened?" She said, "Well, I thought I was supposed to wait for the bus driver to tell me to get off the bus. And when he went ahead and pulled away, she said, I knew that I lived here and I had to get off." And she said, "No." I said, "Weren't you scared?" And she said, "No, I just went up and tapped on the shoulder and said, hey, I got to get off back there." Well, Melissa had met a challenge that day. She had made a challenge just like all of you. You guys have met more challenges through these 13 years of school than you'll face in most of the rest of your life. You started off having to learn to read and write, and all of the elementary types of things that you learn. You learned how to survive on the playground. You went to outdoor education and survived that, even the rope sports. Then you had the big challenge of moving on to the middle school. On the basketball court, you guys played some of the best basketball that any group of kids have came through here and played. On the football field, you showed a lot of tenacity with meeting a challenge every year. But you never, ever did you ever give up. On the baseball diamond, you won a district championship and first time in 16 years. You went to the state track meet twice and you brought back state championship. You had the challenge of Miss Riddle's term papers. And you met those challenges, and under Miss Riddle's tutelage, you became academic champions. You created a historical society. And you even learned how to skin a cat this year. So there's all types of challenges. You've had the challenge of Mr. Thomas's Monday Fun Day. And to quote Mr. Thomas again, it's sadly now Friday Goodbye Day for you. But I now offer you a new challenge. You've met all these valiantly. And a new challenge is going to sound simple, but it is very, very difficult to do. As you go out and you meet all these things, I challenge you to keep the excitement, to keep the tenacity that you've done over these past 13 years. You have to get excited about life. You have to get excited about every time something comes up tough where you do. You can't walk away from it. You have to challenge it, smile about it, and be excited about it. You have to, whether it's in your family life, in your spiritual life, in your social life, in your working life, you have to constantly be on the upside. Never let it get you down. Some of you right now will go right out to college. Some of you are going to go into straight into the workforce. Some of you are going to go into the military. All of these things, and some of you right now don't really know what you want to do, and that's fine. But the biggest thing is how you meet each one of these situations. You go into college, you become excited. And you go to the workforce, and you be the best worker you can, and you challenge that every day. Also, along with this challenge, I want to promise you something. I've always tried to do that in my classes. I expect we always talk about that, what's expected, and what I offer you back. Well, I promise you this. As you go out there, we will become your fans. Now, starting tonight, when you walk out of these doors, we here at Caney Valley will become your family. Your family will be. Your church will be. This great community of Caney Valley will be behind you. And I guarantee that we'll cheer you on. We'll be doing the wave behind you. And as you go on out there and things get tough, we'll cheer that much louder for you. That I promise you. And I cannot think of a better group of young people that will become more successful in life. And I would like to be the first to say congratulations to the class of '96.
Sometimes his eyes were gentle, filled with laughter. Sometimes they cried. Sometimes there was a fire, holy anger in Jesus' eyes. But the eyes that saw hope in the hopeless, that saw through the fault to the need, the same eyes that looked down from heaven to the deepest part of you and me. And his eyes are always upon us. His eyes never close in sleep. And no matter where you go, you will always be in his eyes. In his eyes. Sometimes his voice comes calling, like rolling thunder, or like driving rain. Sometimes his voice is quiet, we start to wonder if he knows our pain. But he who spoke peace to the waters cares for our hearts that waves. And the voice that once said you're forgiven still says you're forgiven today, today. Sometimes I look above me, the stars are shining, and I feel so small. How could the God of heaven and all creation know I'm here at all? Then in the silence he whispers, my child, I created you too. You're my most precious creation. Even gave my son for you. And his eyes are always upon you. His eyes never close in sleep. And no matter where you go, you will always be in his eyes. You will always be in his eyes. Sometimes his eyes were gentle, filled with laughter.
I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm warm. I'd like to get this thing over with. Before I present the seniors to you, I'd like to introduce the Board of Education. To my right, President of the Board of Education is Joe Lewis. Vice President, Teresa Thompson. Member, Steve Connor. Member, Dr. Sue Woods. Along with our Superintendent, Tom Jones. I would like to sit down and written a little statement about each student, but I did it a few years ago and I didn't get stopped for about 2 hours, so I thought I wouldn't do that. But there were a few things I thought they couldn't pass up. You know, we had some longs and shorts of it, some highs and lows, some Big Macs, some Little Macs, some gainers and some losers, some bads and some goods. Then we had some people that always had to put their hand in things to get things started, get things done right. We had one guy that had 3 letters in his last name,
And we have a grading scale here that says A, B, C, D, and F. And Travis always thought G was good enough. We have one named after a city and one named after the Gulls country. Some after colors. We have preachers' children here. We have teachers' kids here. We have some, 5 of them with the last name starting with G, 5 with the last name starting with M, 5 with the last name starting with W, 4 with S, 4 with C, 4 with H, and 4 with L. This has been a good class. Kevin Wood came down this year and joined us from Dewey, but Wood made the right move, didn't he? And then we have one that's never wrong, always right. And we have one that's never old, always young. We have some that are simple, or is that Simpson? Sorry about that. We have some that practice at the altar, sometimes known as kneeling. And we have some, there's Moss, sometimes they call them Millers. We have a boy and a girl Miller there. Well, that's not a boy, it's gay, I'm sorry, a girl. Okay, with that little introduction, we'd like to go, oh yeah, there's one there that happens to be somewhat related to me. You can take the last letters of take his name, spell it backwards, and take his second name and spell the first 3 letters backwards, and that's exactly the way we think about it, drawing or draw mad. That's the way we think of him. Okay, this has been a good senior class. I'd like to tell you that I'm proud of this class. It's a good class. I'm proud of it from an academic standpoint. I'm proud of it from the athletic standpoint. They're a good class. At this time, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce them to you and present the seniors of 1996. Anderson. Tricia Robin Brown. Amy Collins Carter. Billy Jim Chastain. Matthew Key Coonfield. Daniel Walter Cunningham. Selena Dion Donnelly. Joshua Bo Florence. Lyle K. French. Michael David Gaynor. Adam Scott Good. Timothy James Good. Brian Dale Gordon. Travis Wayne Griggs. Shane Daly Hand. Christina Maria Herrera. Rebecca Ann Hines. Corey Lee Hewlings. Elana Jean Lee. Jason Kyle Long. Jason Wayne Long. Venus Dawn Lowe. Jeffrey Wayne McCormick. Christopher Ray McMurtry. Felicia Gail Miller. Aaron Curtis Morris. Cassie Nicole Neal. Russell Lee Parrish. Christina Dawn Quisenberry. Shanna K. Riley. Nicholas Ray Rust. Brandon Shane Simpson. Christina Michelle Smith. Melissa Lynn Stitt. Stephanie Straley. Sarah Jane Thomas. Melissa Deanne Thurman. Crystal Lynn Aldrich. Jeremy Bain Beach. Valerie K. Burden. Ryan Adam Ward. Amanda Gail Warwick. John Christopher Whitworth. Kevin Scott Wood. Shannon Leanne Wright. Troy Allen Young. class of 1996. Feel free to come down on the floor and take pictures.